Hey everybody, my name is Scary Spikes and welcome to another Star Citizen video. In today's video, we're at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo at the Crusader Hall because of course today we'll be talking about the brand new anti-capital heavy fighter from Crusader Industries, the Ares Ion. Now, don't fret, we will be talking about the Inferno in a future video. Make sure to check the cards up in the top right hand corner of the screen. Of course, you can also subscribe to make sure that you never miss any content in the future. And consider hitting that join button right beside the subscribe button as well. It really helps a lot. Before we get started, of course, we do need to thank one of our VIP Gold contributors, and this week, that's going to be Claytonix. Claytonix is a relatively new member of our community, and he's been incredibly friendly, active, and really supportive. Claytonix, thank you so very much for becoming a member of our community and for being a VIP Gold contributor. I very much appreciate it. Of course, you can also join us live on stream Wednesdays and Fridays, 8 p.m. Eastern over on Twitch and our amazing Discord community, and I'll make sure to put links for those down below. Without further ado, folks, let's go ahead and get started with this video. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the exterior tour of this ship, and what a beautiful ship it is. Once we're done that, we're going to go ahead and jump into the cockpit, and of course then we'll dive into Urkel Games to see how we can make this amazing platform even better. I have added chaptering and timestamps in the description down below for your convenience, so you can go ahead and jump to whatever part of the video suits your needs. In my opinion, the Ion is going to be an icon and a legend in its own right, especially with the progression of time, and whether or not we see new ships coming out from Crusader Industries or its competitors. But one thing is clear. It's not just a very unique and beautiful looking ship. It also has the hallmarks of a lot of the ships that came before from Crusader, including these absolutely gargantuan thrusters in the back here. Now, I'd be hard pressed to see how these were not taken out of a MSR and just slapped in here and just basically wedged in there with a little bit of butter, because this thing gets up and goes like a bat out of hell. The other thing that I really like are the low swept wings here. Now, I know this looks very high because we're on a pedestal at the moment at the show floor, but I've literally used these things as a ramp for some of my vehicles, which was hella fun. Of course, the main attraction for the Ion is going to be the gigantic size 7 laser cannon, contrary to the Gatling gun of the same size you get on the Inferno, seen on the other end of the show floor there. But one of the other things that I really enjoy about the Ion is the fact that it holds true that no matter what Crusader ship you are in, you will have a great view from inside the cockpit. The cockpit is very, very well designed, and in fact, the glass around the cockpit is open and allows for all sorts of viewing angles for the pilot to be able to make all the right decisions. And in some cases, seeing and not seeing something could be the difference between life and death, so I really love what they did here. There is also a very unique way to get in the ship, which I'll show you in just a moment, but one of the other things that I really enjoy is that this is not just a big gun with an engine mounted to it. We have missiles, and size 3 missiles to boot. So you can definitely adapt this to a lot more situations than just fighting big capital ships. Of course, on the back is a lesser known feature of the Ion, and the same applies in the Inferno, and that is that even for a heavy fighter, we do have access to some storage space, although nominal, and of course a nice little gun rack as well, which is just a very nice touch, and I'm thrilled to see that it's there. Now, the Ion is as beautiful inside as it is out, and that's what I'm going to show you next. But of course, in order to get into the ship, we'll need to find out where the ladder is. If you have the option selected, which should be by default anyway in your main menu, then you should get a little blip here showing you where the ladder is. If not, well, this is where it is. It's the leading edge of the left wing. Simply just walk up to it, hold F to open up your inner thought menu, and simply click. In my testing and in my experience, don't move your character after you've done this though, because there is a bug that prevents your character from entering the ship. So as soon as you've clicked, just let your character do their thing. Now, as soon as we come in here, we are greeted with the canopy closing from behind, which is really quite nice, and a beautiful, gorgeous, well put together and modern looking cockpit. Now, this thing is absolutely amazing, and I'm not going to start it, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and talk about what's in here, and the first thing that's noticeable is, of course, the colorway from the outside being black, white, and red stripes. And man, Crusader just does such a good job with all of this. They make you feel like you're in a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, and even if you're flying one of the bigger ships like the Hercules, that's still the case. I don't know what it is, but there's just some kind of style about Crusader ships that I absolutely love. And no, before you ask, that thing does not look any smaller from the inside than it does from the outside. In any case, we have 4 little MFDs here, and these do come towards you just a little bit when you start the ship. Of course, we do also have a nice radar in here in the middle, and that is going to be a 3D radar, as well as all of the other features here. Let's go over them really quickly. We've got, looks like, our throttle on the left-hand side, the stick in the middle. We've got a ejection handle right here between our legs, and of course, the physicalized buttons from previous iterations of Crusader ships have made their way back here. And yes, I'm going to complain just as much as I did about the other ones with all the floating text going on because reasons. Now, I could just go ahead and spawn the ship and fly it for you and show you all the MFDs and kill some bad guys, but what fun would that be for you? Honestly, I'm just here to give you the information and allow you to make a better, or at least more informed purchase decision for your own needs. But you need to fly your ship. And with this thing, that is not any further from the truth. Honestly, if you are brand new to Star Citizen, I would actually recommend that you fly some other ships first, because this thing is going to crush all of those experiences and take it to a whole nother level. Now, if you are a veteran like me and you've been around since 2014 or even longer, this is going to, no joke, make you feel like it's your first day playing Star Citizen. Trust me. So that's the reason I didn't fly the ship for you today, but you guys are going to absolutely love it. And hey, it's IAE anyway. Go ahead and check it out. If you're not fortunate enough to rent it on Crusader Day, which is Tuesday, you will have the ability to rent it in the final 2 days during the finality of the show. So I would really urge you guys to do that, play around with it, and see how much you like it. Honestly, this is a really amazing ship, and it just makes you feel like an absolute monster. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Urkel.Games website together, and of course I will have links down below for the default loadout as well as my own loadout, and I welcome all of you to share yours as well down in the comments below. Just keep in mind, it's my feelings about the ship, and based on how I fly, the decisions that I make to put different components on here, so just keep that in mind. Of course, you can have a different loadout, and that's totally okay. Let's go ahead and head out to Urkel and have a look at all the components and weapons of the ship. Alright, so having moved on to Urkel.Games, we're going to take a look at how we can make this better, and we're going to start with the weapons. And unfortunately, guys, the news here is not good. I don't know if we're going to have the option, and it remains to be seen if we'll be able to switch weapons in the future between these two, but I certainly hope that we'll have standalone weapons similar to these that we'll be able to place on other ships. That being said, unfortunately, these are not swappable, and so this is something you'll have to factor into your purchasing decision, whether you want the ballistic Gatling or whether you want the laser cannon. Now, of course, if you want the cannon, you'll need to go with the Ion, and of course, if you want the Gatling, you'll need to go with the Inferno. Unfortunately, that is the only way to choose what you want, and the best way to get the best of both worlds, unfortunately, is to buy both of them. So if you have the dosh to spare, then by all means, but if not, then this is definitely a decision you'll have to make today. Now, moving on, we do have a few things that we can change down here, but before we get into that, I want to pose you guys a question. And that is, have you had issues with the Arrestor 3 locking onto targets? One thing that I've been doing is I've been flying around a lot in my Ion, and I've been trying to figure out what the difference is really between how the Vipers and the Arrestors lock on. And from my experience, what I've noticed is that the Vipers lock on a majority of targets, whereas the Arrestors barely want to lock on. Now, they'll still lock, but they'll remain red instead of green like the Vipers, and when they're fired, they just fire in basically dummy mode without any sort of guidance. Please let me know in the comments below if you're aware of any issue council reports reflecting this, and whether this is a bug or just something that maybe I'm experiencing on my lonesome here. But in any case, we're not going to be running any of these missiles going forward, and if you guys have seen my previous videos with the size 3, I really like the Thunderbolt, and I like that because it does really good amounts of damage, but it also has a proximity fuse, which means even if you don't get a direct hit, you can still do some damage to the target, which is great instead of just wasting a missile. So on this particular rack here, we've got 12 and then 4 over here, so we're going to have a total of 20 size 3 missiles, which is really nice to have for a heavy fighter, honestly, especially one that's as well equipped with the size 7 gun as it is. Now, moving on, this is where things get a little interesting and a little bit better for those who want to make some changes. Now, out of the factory, these are actually equipped reasonably well, but of course, we can definitely make some alterations. So we have 2 size 2 shields, we have 2 size 2 power plants, 3 size 2 coolers, interesting choice, and of course, we have a size 2 crossfield quantum drive, which honestly, if you don't have the money to change this, don't. This is perfectly fine. But let's go ahead and start with the shields, and I would probably go with the military or the industrial. Now, the industrial, you can have a good amount of shield pool on these, but they are very expensive. So military is the way that I would go, and I would go with the FR76 here for both shields. Now notice that the shields haven't changed all that much from previous patches. There have been some tweaks made, with some having more shield pool than others, where it used to be where pretty much every single shield of a single size was exactly the same. Now it's a little bit different, as we're starting to deviate from that flattened profile that we had in the previous patch. So I would definitely go with the FR76s if you can afford those. Very likely you'll need to go to Orison to get those, but of course you can check out Urkel here. All the information is on Urkel. It'll tell you where you can get everything right from this website, which is really nice. Moving on to power plants, we have 2 size 2 power plants, and of course, again, we have a few options here. In my opinion, though, I would go with the Quadracell. I think it's probably the best overall. The JS series is also really nice, but it's incredibly hard to find. So we do have the JS400 there, but it's pretty much exactly the same as the Quadracell, and the Quadracell is a little easier to find. So I would go with those. Now, for the coolers, these ones are not too bad. Again, I would go with the Avalanches. If you do have the money to spare, though, then the Snowpacks are definitely much better. But honestly, the Avalanches will do you just fine. They can be a little difficult to find, so again, check Urkel to see where you can purchase those. But we're going to go ahead and choose those. And because I'm doing a lot of bounty hunting and I'm not really needing to go very long distances, I'm not really going to bother changing this to an XL1. You can if you want to, but honestly, you don't have to, and the XL1 can be quite pricey, and also, again, hard to find. So if you are a little bit tight on cash, then the Crossfield is honestly great. It's super good on fuel, and you don't have to refuel for long periods of time, plus it's sufficiently fast so you can get to where you're going reasonably quick. Now, of course, this is going to be very subjective, but just go ahead and pick whichever one you want. There are some new paints that have come out with the Ares. I personally just really like the classic paint that it came with from the factory, but of course, this is again a subjective matter here that you can choose from and paint it the way that you like it. So that's going to do it for this video, folks. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for making it all the way to the end. I'm so excited. I can't wait for the next IAE already, because it's always super fun. But in any case, I hope you guys had a great time here, learned a couple of things, and maybe picked up an Ares, Inferno, or Ion of your own. If so, do let me know down below. Of course, if you enjoyed the video and did find it helpful, it really helps me and the YouTube algorithm by you leaving a like to let them know, subscribing if you're new, and of course, ringing the bell so that you don't miss any future videos coming up. Of course, you can always join us on stream live. We have a good time, and we have a really nice giveaway happening this month. At the end of the month, we're giving away a $100 Star Citizen gift card, so you can come by and hang out with us, have some fun, and have a chance to win a $100 gift card that you can use towards your next ship. We stream Wednesdays and Fridays, 8 p.m. Eastern over on Twitch, and of course, an amazing Discord community waits for you here. Of course, if you'd like to join that, just follow the links in the description below. That being said, again, thank you so very much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.